LA County, although the sheriff said he's not going to enforce it, once again with the mask and mandates for everyone inside. Las Vegas as well, the mask mandates with everyone inside. So there were reports that it was those kind of fears that was causing this reaction today. But as I said, I spoke with several people today that said, no, that's not really it. It's maybe the Biden administration talking about continuing to print money and spend trillions and trillions of dollars.
Right, right. Well, you have this perfect storm brewing, and Michael alluded to it before, this fear of what's going to happen with the growth. You mean with President Trump, it's just like the American people felt more and more confident. The economy was roaring along. What do we have now? We have this stop-start. We had lockdowns. Now we're coming back. Growth isn't that great, but inflation is going up. People have fears. And then the media stokes those fears with this fear of these lockdowns again. How can you be certain in this uncertain world now when we might have lockdowns, when we might have masks? I mean, what's the point in the vaccine if they're telling you to have masks again? These are the kind of things that worry people. And then paying bills. Everything's going up. Energy costs, sure. But remember when they put out that tweet about you're going to save 16 cents on the 4th of July, when people know that every single good is going up, it's just outrageous.
Right. And taxes, and everyone is going to be impacted by that.
It's not enough. Is that we are still, despite some of the actions that they have taken, seeing significant spread of misinformation. This health misinformation is hurting people's health. It's costing them their lives.
Well, Facebook lashed back at the administration, saying that they were not the reason that Biden's vaccination goal has been missed. Earlier, the White House had said that they've told Facebook to remove or censor anything that they deem, the White House deems, is misinformation about the COVID virus. Well, today, President Biden attempted, as we said, to clarify his remarks, saying that Facebook is not killing people, that people on Facebook, individuals, were killing people by spreading misinformation. Let's bring our panel back in to talk about this and more. So, Bobby, what is your take on all of this? And specifically, you know, the White House admittedly and being involved in pointing out what they deem to be misinformation and helping to censor people on Facebook.
Well, right. And first, let me address this walk back, because the White House and the Democrats are always going to push. The left is always going to push. And why? Because they're used to it. They're used to getting away with this stuff. And so what's so amazing is that they're getting pushed back now. People have been tired of this stuff. They can't stand it. And now all of a sudden, Joe Biden has to apologize. But the scariest notion that is out there is this whole idea of state-run media. That is basically what we're seeing, where the White House can tell a social media big tech giant that, hey, we think this is misinformation. You need to start banning people. We saw the media acting separately, big tech acting separately, the White House acting separately. But now this is collusion, and it's the scariest thing I've seen in a while.
The Biden White House is taking it a step further, and we can bring up what Jen Psaki had to say in reference to people being banned from certain platforms. She said if you're banned from one, you should be banned from all of them. And if we could pull that up.
You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others for providing misinformation out there.
And that misinformation being determined, Bobby, by the Biden administration.
Right, you're right, exactly. Can't trust the Trump administration, but the Biden administration, you're all in. And I want to know who these 12 are, because I think all of us on this panel today have gotten blocked, banned, or throttled at some point. So, I mean, we're all contributors to misinformation, according to the White House. It sounded like Biden went out with some quick talking point. Oh, yeah, let's blame 12 people in the whole world, and that'll solve it. It was just a ridiculous statement. But again, it shows the collusion. Now, Jen Psaki, on that clip that you just played, saying that we should ban people from all platforms, and big tech is going right along with it, I'm sure. This is really scary, and it shows the end of debate and discourse and discussion. People have differing opinions. But what all of this is saying is that, nope, there's no differing opinions anymore. It's either our way or you're blocked, banned, throttled, you're out. And that's what we have to fight.
Bobby, when you take a look at some of the things that she's been in charge of, specifically the very first thing, which was immigration and the problems that we're having at the border, which just continues to get worse and worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when she ran for president in the primaries, people looked at this resume and they said, oh, she's going to be formidable. She's the one to watch. As soon as she starts talking, as soon as she starts going over her policies, people said, whoa, step back. On top of that, she was the most liberal senator in the entire United States Senate. Now she's in the vice presidency, and her record speaks for itself. They keep tasking her with these czar jobs, these positions, and she hasn't delivered on any of them, especially, as you said, Heather, on the border. It's been a disaster. So it's no wonder that people think that she can't step up, because that's why she didn't make it through the primary, and no confidence in her to be president.
Yeah, I spoke with Dick Morris, Bobby, earlier today, and Dick Morris brought up a good point. Who's leaking out some of this information that's getting out about Kamala Harris? And in his opinion, he thought that perhaps Biden's folks were a little bit concerned that she's kind of, coming out in the forefront a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird dynamic. I mean, Biden was pretty much forced to pick Harris when he said he was going to go the route of a woman for vice president. The writing was on the wall, but they don't like each other. They never have. You saw that during the debates. But one thing about the Texas legislators meeting with her that I just want to bring up, it's like, what constituency are they representing? Because everybody supports voter ID. And that, I mean, black, white, Hispanic, Democrat, independent, conservative, Republican, they all support it. So this is, like Ford, I think, had mentioned, a publicity stunt that's going to go nowhere, but they're not even representing a legitimate constituency.
Yeah. And welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Heather Childers. Bob Sellers is off today. There are reports that Democrats will be looking at President Biden's massive $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill as a last chance to get their version of the immigration reform.
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats are pushing. They're pushing hard because they have the House, the Senate, the White House, but they haven't shown any results yet. So I think what you're seeing is a little bit of desperation because they haven't been able to get anything done that their constituency wants. And here's the thing, politically, there are Republicans that are ready to do a deal on real infrastructure, like Melanie and Ford have mentioned, the roads, the bridges, things like that. They're ready to deal. They're ready to make that happen. But the Democrats are so beholden to these far left interest groups that they have to throw all of this in and hope it sticks, hope they can pass it and show some kind of result, because the writing seems to be on the wall already that 2022 is going to be a bloodbath for the Democrats.
Yeah, and 1.1 million illegal aliens in fiscal year 2021 is the number that we had earlier when we were talking about the immigration problem at the border. And to put that into some context, we pulled up a graphic, which I think we can pull up, of some of the cities here in America. You had Charlotte, North Carolina. If we can bring that full screen up, please. More than 900,000, the population there. You have San Francisco, California, a little more than 866,000 living there. So if you take a look at these numbers, the number of illegal aliens that have crossed over the border, 1.1 million in it, the last fiscal year, Bobby, that's more than these cities.
Yeah, it's outrageous. And that's what you see. I mean, we have this COVID shift. Everyone's talking about the Delta variant and misinformation. Meanwhile, at the southern border, things keep getting worse and worse and worse. The story erupted in February and March, and then the media tried to downplay it. Jen Psaki stopped talking about it, thinking it would just go away. Well, then look at April and May and now the June numbers. Everything keeps getting worse. They're not solving the problem. People are in real danger here with the drug trade and the human trafficking and the gangs. The Democrats don't want to talk about it. And again, that's going to be another issue coming up in 2022. The American people have had enough. Democrats aren't getting the job done. In fact, they want these open borders, and something has to change. Yeah,
the United States joined with other world powers to blame China's intelligence agency for a variety of malicious cyber attacks. But aside from some snide words, the White House not really offering any punishment for China, which some observers say doesn't do too much to keep future attacks from China from happening.
Well, I think we need to be tougher, and we need to, state our case and back it up. I mean, like Melanie said, instead we're issuing lists of safe spaces. The person breaks in, but then you have tags on certain items, say, please don't take this. It makes no sense. But this is the history of warfare. I mean, the future of warfare, the future of espionage, economic and military. cyber attacks. That's where it's going. So if we aren't on top of it or ahead of it, we're losing. We are behind the 8 ball. And to not speak out against Russia, to not speak out against China, even in minor expel an ambassador or do some kind of sanctions, do something that shows that we are serious about this. Otherwise, they're going to just keep hacking. They're going to keep hacking and gain some real information before we can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.